I would like to call the July 9th, 2026 Council on Aging Commission regular meeting to order. If you are able, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we then have the roll call?
Dirk Craig, absent. Winsman,
Present.
Sadler.
Here.
Keona.
Here.
Modig.
Here.
Sikora, absent. Student Representative Kirk. Here. You have a quorum.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Did you all get your packet with the agenda?
Someone want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda for July. And a second, nice. Are there any revisions to the agenda? None. The agenda is approved. There are no scheduled public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on any item not appearing on the agenda? Hi. Hearing none. Okay, so may I have a motion to approve the April 9th, 2026 minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any revisions to the minutes? Yeah. Are there any objections to approving the minutes? Hearing no objections, the minutes are approved. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. That would be a survey.
You will find this year's 2026 annual client satisfaction survey, forgive me. I took a little liberty this year and kind of gave you some information that's self-explanatory, such as the majority of the returns were people who were actually members of the center that regularly attended here. We saw less people who received home services turning in surveys this year. I do not know why. Last year we had 98 surveys returned. This year we only had 55. We still met our target population. We did show an improvement in the amount of how people are aware of the programs we serve. We're now up to 89%. You will see that a large amount of volunteers are already serving as volunteers. So we saw less people saying, no, I don't want to be a volunteer. We saw more saying yes, and the rest saying, I'm already a volunteer. Next, how often do you eat at the senior center? That 42% 1 to 3 times per week is actually a 25% increase from last year. So we are seeing more people dine in on a regular basis versus occasionally. Again, the graph below it, the home delivered meals, we saw less representation from home meal individuals. I'm not quite understanding why. Those particular surveys are hand delivered by drivers, so we know that they got them and they have the option of passing along to the driver. It just did not happen this year. So unfortunately, we lost some of that data. As far as the rate of quality meals we received, that's pretty much the same as last year. Most people say excellent or good. We got no poor this year. Of course, the favorite is liver and onions and fried chicken. I don't think that will ever change. But we did see a lot more individuals that were putting as a secondary favorite the chef salads and like the Thai crunch salads that she makes that are actual meals, not just a side. So that was actually kind of refreshing. How often do you use transportation surveys? I will say last year I told you that our numbers had doubled as far as usage, and I thought that I would see potential growth this year. And we did. We saw a 67% increase in usage over this past fiscal year. And mind you, these are not individuals that are wheelchair users. These are fairly independent or require little assistance. So I can see once we have that ADA man in place, that we're potentially gonna see those numbers usage grow. The next page, these are new. I wanted to find out how people were utilizing the transportation. So I asked, do you use transportation to access the community, or do you use it to access the senior center? Most individuals are responding that they use it to access the community. I think a lot of it has to do with how active we are becoming now, where we're accessing the field house for walking, the pool regularly. I think we're up to 10 to 12 people are gonna be going to the pool. We're having to use a big white van, so that's an improvement. Getting out for Wednesday market and just out and about transportation, I think we're seeing a lot more usage of that. As far as safety, that is similar to last year. There's no change there. As far as people feeling that the services we provide maintain or increase the quality of life, that too is exactly the same as last year. This year, 82%, it was 85%, but I think if we give that 13% in there with that 82, it's pretty high on its own. So people are pretty satisfied with the services they receive here. I did change up the final questions. So what activities do you enjoy most? I gave you kind of a synopsis that also explained where the data went with it, as far as people talking about friendships, talking about connections. Same thing with activities at the center. They want that continued social engagement and the ability to explore the surrounding community. One of the things things they would like to see is someone asked that they'd like to see trips outside of Soldotna and Kenai year round. And I'm not quite sure how we'll accommodate that in the winter, but we'll figure something out. I think that's an interesting idea. Cost saving ideas, didn't really have any big ones. It continues to be the turn down the heat in the winter. I think that's the exercise group. And finally, I left you all of the comments that were left at the end of the survey, at the end of this. So, I know I had a couple other things I wanted to add that were not in that. And then. So just a heads up. I've been working on numbers. Kathy and I are doing end of the year reports, which I'm sure she'll report on in her report. But we did hit marks and did exceed in many services this year, transportation being one of them. Homemakers saw a huge growth, serving 85 people rather than the 15 that we said we would serve. So we're seeing significant growth in services that are provided by the center. Yes.
Can you explain to them what homemaker is?
Homemaker is a very broad term. Homemaker could be something as simple as helping someone carry in the groceries. It could also be helping someone do their Medicare, Medicaid application, eating assistance, links to other services, coordinating doctor's appointments. It's a very broad term, but we're seeing a lot more individuals that need help as we go further and further into technology. Because, I know we keep hearing this, we want technology classes. Well, when we offer them, no one shows up. So I haven't quite figured out how to get people butts in the seats for these, that they want to be here for it. But we'll continue to figure out and offer what we can where we can. That's all for me.
Question for
Absolutely.
you, how often do you eat at the center? Do you have a raw number that,
Say it one more time.
not a raw number that equates to?
So that how often, that 42%, that means 42% of the 55 reviews that were,
Just, okay.
yeah, that's where that came from, but I can actually give you a raw number. So as of June 30th, we provided 10,277 congregate meals this year. That's just congregate, that doesn't include the 23,000 in home delivered meals, so.
Okay.
I hope that answered your question.
Okay, mission discussion. So. I know that. A couple of us, Barb and I are gonna continue working on getting that, stuff, information typed up for our, little booklet on resources available. I don't know. What?
You don't know what?
If, the other groups were looking at anything on our, goals for the upcoming year.
I don't believe that has been assigned.
That's like that, okay,
I don't believe that has been assigned.
okay, so.
Did we ever write them out? The actual rules with the strategy for you?
Yeah.
We did. I know, we
We're-
decided on
we're
my previous.
Yeah.
previous-
The last month or the month before.
February.
Oh, that was in February.
February,
Oh,
March.
we have copies of it.
But if I can add to that, some of that is going to be some intergenerational things that we're looking at this fall. And that was a,
I'm just trying to think of who was doing that, Rachel.
yes.
So upcoming topics for meetings, any staff report on that?
I'd be happy to do. So,
I think we're a different hat.
where's your notes?
Right there, right across from you, thank you.
So, I remember I told you, I think I told you 2 months ago that I was offered a seat. I had applied for a seat and was offered a seat on the Alaska Commission on Aging. And so I had my first meeting in May, and this month, excuse me, we're in July. So last month, I had a 2-day strategic planning session in Anchorage with the commission. And one of the things that they talked about in the May Zoom commission meeting was they have a gentleman from Alaska Housing who is on the senior housing grants. He's the coordinator for senior housing grants for Alaska Housing, very knowledgeable. And he brought up this new goal, the acronym is GOAL, for this new grant program that they have for more senior housing. And I at that time, I interjected that we currently have 120 on a wait list for a market rated, not low income subsidy, but a market rate senior housing. That we have 40 units in here in Kenai already. And but finding, matter of fact, and I applauded our city council, the fact that they had put in a long-term capital goal to do a feasibility study coming up 2030, I believe, but a feasibility study has a time on it. And that feasibility study is only good, I don't know if it's a year or two, and then the feasibility study has to be done again. Those feasibility studies run at least 300,000 for just that study. So it was imperative to find funding before that the council would agree to spend on the feasibility study. So explaining all this in this meeting, and he said the new goal grant program through Alaska Housing, and it's actually out now, but we are not in anywhere near ready to move ahead with this. That it has investors that are looking for possibilities to build senior housing, and they could get, they get tax subsidies and things. And I don't know that our city is really interested in spending $20 million on a building. Tax subsidies wouldn't go very far with the city, but it's 20 million on a building for 40 units and half of that if it's 20 units. And so he said that the higher you score on this application for this gold grant, the higher you score, meaning how long have you been in business, how long have you undertake senior housing, which we've got a long history of this. He said, but willingness to take middle to lower income seniors would also be a scoring issue. So I thought to myself, at the time, you know what, it may be interesting to ask him and invite him in to sit and talk to us about senior housing. And his name is Jim McCall. And if you're interested in that I could move to, I've already talked to our city manager and asked if he would be open-minded to having Jim. We would Zoom him in on a big TV to where either that or meet in a location that people could freely converse with him more than just the laptop. And that he could, we could talk to him about our thoughts, questions, and he could tell us what programs are out there, if that would be of interest to you.
Absolutely.
I think so. Okay, excuse me, what is his title again?
He is, let's see, I can tell you real quickly, thank you, internet.
And his name?
Jim McCall.
There we go.
He is, let's see. He's the Housing Relations Officer, Housing Relations Officer for Alaska Housing Finance Corporation. Housing Relations.
Would be great. They had.
It would be, it might give us some,
Communicate their needs
right,
and maybe a challenge or how much money would it be?
right,
Or capita,
right.
considering the number of units.
Well, I did a good research on AI and given Kenai, Alaska, and with proximity, and I showed it to Bill, and 40 units, that it would be, if it was out of pocket to do that, and how much it would end up paying for itself. Rents would have to be, it would be about 20 million, and rents would have to be starting at about 2,500 to be even to pay for itself. And so there's a lot to be taken into consideration. So another option for bringing in, I wanted to ask, her name is Abby Strufert, and she is with the 907 initiative, and brings, I think it's great they have a website and an app that they do that they, and I'd like her to come and talk and just to promote, show what is capable. So the best thing, I tell you what, you want to get in that dining room, you want to get the word out faster than using a microphone. You tell two people and pretty soon it's going to go. And if there's a positive thing about benefits for seniors and what can benefit people, all we have to do is tell people about it. So if she comes and talks to us and says, hey, we've got this opportunity, we just have to get the word out so people can have the app and sign up and download it. And we would offer to be able to, we would have it in our newsletter at a time that they could come in, and we would have people download the app and show them what they can look for. So technology is going this way. It is going less and less this way. And so the faster we get seniors moving toward that direction, the happier. They may not be happy right away, but you know, one of the most frustrating things for seniors to try to get to a Social Security or Medicare right now. You have to do a login.gov, and it's frustrating if you're using this. It's frustrating, and so that's only going to increase. It's only going to increase. So anyway, those are two things that I brought that I wanted to approach you and see if you thought they would be viable to move ahead on. And maybe you had some other ideas of things you would like to be brought to the table. And
No, I mean.
Do you have any idea if the city is interested in providing the property for additional housing?
so without putting our vice mayor on the spot, so I do know that when Kenai Peninsula Housing Initiative has come forward and they're building senior housing in the area, and it does have low income access and the city has been very giving along that line. Giving a property, the city has a lot of property. I would like to believe that that would be a positive approach, that we can get a positive, along, and yeah, I think so. Why do you take notes on everything I just said?
Is construction a problem in general here in Alaska? It seems to be a national problem that people are talking about. The average family can't start buy a home or build a home. So I've been working about seniors here. Maybe people here, who are not seniors are having problems with housing. So, and then the cost factor right now, I guess, is they've been per square foot.
It's expensive.
Is it by square feet they do calculated?
That's they estimate it that way.
And taxes. So if the property were to be donated, would that be a relief as far as taxes go? Real estate taxes? Or property taxes?
I think as a nonprofit, you wouldn't pay taxes, so I
You would not.
know.
If it was, my understanding is that if it was rented to low income and specialized groups, that would give them a tax break.
It would be automatic tax.
If there's income, just as regular rental income that's non-subsidized, that would be a different, that may be different. So,
Would you have a feel for people around the wait list? Could they afford the 2,000 plus?
it's a good question. It's a good question. Something I have wondered is, in Anchorage, they've built condos that are all in one big group, and people buy into those condos.
Right.
But they also have aging in place, so you could get other services while living in the condos there. They would be add-ons that you could add on. And so, if we keep open-minded about this, it may not, I think it would behoove us to investigate what options are out there that don't require the city to float a bond or to say, there may be investment groups that want to invest in something on this line, so the Kenai Peninsula is the second highest geographic in the state for seniors moving in. Unfortunately, people younger are moving out, but, so.
What do the apartments for seniors generally run for like that? Is it like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, I think? What is the market rate?
Well, we just did a market study last year and compared our building to some of them in Old Town, and the 2-bedroom that we have on the ocean side rents for less than $1,300 a month. So 2-bedroom, water side, washer and dryer in the unit, 1 bedroom with a live-in building caretaker and commons rooms and a secured entrance. That's a pretty good deal.
That is very.
And heat.
And he pays for heat and internet. No wonder we have a wait list of 120.
Any other, ideas, topics that you might want to see in upcoming meetings? I'll go back and ask you a question that was kind of about the transportation stuff, though, so I don't know. Red mentioned there are several places that we do around the community. Is there a list somewhere of what the senior center will drive to? But I didn't notice anything in the newsletter. How does someone find out about that?
So,
Community, things at the bus. You know, it does say on the calendar if there's a special trip or something, but like to the swimming pool, I didn't know they went to the Wednesday market. You know, there's several. I don't know what all of you, so.
so in the newsletter, they do talk about the Wednesday market, Thursday pool. And, they do, as far as community bus trips, those are the ones that we have in the past offered, for instance, Wednesday Safeway, Thursday Walmart. And that would be something, that we would be, now that we have the bigger vans, when it comes to winter time, we'll be offering that again. And, so it would, right now, it's a pretty much a person calls in and they have an appointment here, we're taking them there. There's a bus route where people get picked up at their home and brought to the center. And, but specialized, places other than, doctor's appointments, those are specialized ones.
Yeah.
And those can be on demand. And, the other ones would be the pool.
Field house.
The field house. It is once a week, I believe, right now. She'd like it to get, and the last week we had one person go to the Wednesday market because of the farmers coupons. That seniors are able to get up to $55 in coupons to go to the farmers market, and that is income based, but it's, and then, so, but they don't have a way to get there. And so we transport.
Okay. Anything else? Right. We're moving on to reports.
So you get to hear me talk again, so. That's been done. Hey, they, been a good month. We've got the borough grant, excuse me, sorry, Gina. Borough grant, report, the final grant, for this year is, you know, we get over 180,000 a year from the borough. And so we report on quarterly, that will be in your packet next month. That was just sent out to borough, this morning. And then we're also working on the, biannual report for the state, which my biannuals run 12 pages. Because we put a lot of information in there, but I want to tell you something that, we, in the month of May, the, Title III director for the state of Alaska, who the Title III, the Older Americans Act, is the one who gives the money through the federal government to the state. And then they hire the Title III directors where we get a nutrition transportation grant. And, she used our biannual from January to, with our permission, she used our biannual report to comment on 2 months in a row and sent it out to every grant recipient, about 70 grantees in the state, and said, this is how I want you to look. And so, it was the thanks a lot. And so she says, I want to know activities, and I want to know when I say, I don't want yes or no answers. And, so, and I told her, I said, first of all, this isn't a one-man show. I said, we have Kayla who plans all these activities and gets them going and gathers and, you know, organizes everything. And we have Red who counts all the numbers of people and puts all those numbers together and keeps track of who's eating and who's writing and who's visiting and, you know, and everything. And Red does all that. And then Jennifer at City Hall, our controller, who's still our controller for a short time still, is she's the one who figures where we spend the money at and gets those figures together for that report. And then I write the narrative and tell and bring it all together. And so we give, when they want, how is your program benefiting the consumers? How is it benefiting it? And then, you know, we sit and think, okay, what have we done? And we don't use names. Senior number one is an 89-year-old man, and this is what we did. And so it felt pretty good to get that's the second time she's done that, saying, we like Kenai's report, and we would like other people to have reports like that. So that was a kudos. So we're getting that going. We have, we are fully hired right now. Everybody is, all of our positions are, and in April, I told you we had not heard on the 530 or 5, I think what it was called right now, but it's the grant from DOT. It's a federal grant through the state of Alaska that we wrote. It was submitted in around the first of the year, and for a wheelchair ADA accessible van, and we were granted our full amount of 72,000. And we will be, Senior Connection is doing the matching grant of 18,000 to it. The vehicle is going to be about 90 is what we predict. It'll be a low riding vehicle, so folks who can't step up can sit, or they're in a walker or wheelchair and can be wheeled in, and it would accommodate. So as that comes through, we'll go through Public Works to put the RFP out for it, and we should be getting that sometime in the next, we should hear more information about that coming up. So that was a big plus. And that was and when I was at the commission meeting, one of the people from Anchorage said, when I was telling what's going on in Kenai, so we just got the 5301 grant, and she goes, we have tried for, how did you get that grant? And I said, well, we wrote a grant but we have a Kenai Peninsula Coordinated Transportation Group. And I've been in that since CART started. And so we get together, the borough assembly is the body that says when this group gets together and votes on the priorities set for the DOT grants. Kenai got the first place this last year. Our senior center got the first place for the priority, and then it goes resolution before the borough assembly. And so I think the Kenai Peninsula has its act together on coordinated transportation, and that makes a big deal. It helps CARTS, it helps Alaska Cab, it helps Independent Living Center. It makes a big difference. So one more thing I wanted to tell you is, I have more of these if we don't have a map of these. This is,
Well, we had one a year ago.
yes, this is if you want to guess it. So last year, when they put these out, this is put out by the Alaska Commission on Aging. And when they put these out last year, they were about a third of this size. And this year they have a new executive director who, this is a resource for the state of Alaska. And they give these to the legislature in the springtime. And this is this tells about seniors all across Alaska. I thought, this is a great little book that would be nice to come from the senior center, something like this. And so when I was in Anchorage, I got each of you one of these, and it's a great reference book. And when I was at the meeting, I told them, and I have a little bit, a lot of the commissioners are retired. And I'm still working and I'm also working for a grantee for the state, so it was, they were like, well, do we need something smaller? This is too much information. And I said, whoa. Do you know what a resource book this is for your grantees? When we have to find information out. And this has all been backed up. The information is backed up by the state. There's a department that goes and checks every bit of fact finders. And before any publication goes out. And so this is a great book and it tells all the senior services that we have in the state, and you can have that one. And what the state is doing, we should be very proud of what our state is doing. And so I'm really proud and happy to be on this commission. It's exciting. So I think, I do want to say we are planning an upcoming in August. We're going to have a senior center picnic and it's going to be out at Hidden Lake. So we're going to try something a little different. We tried for Hillport out at Kidney Lake, but we missed it was all booked up. So we got to work on that next year. So we have been out there before, but this year we're going to go, I think it's August 15th, and we're going to take our vans out and whoever wants to go out and have a picnic at the pavilions out at Hidden Lake. So that might be kind of fun. So you might have to come by. So that's all I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any information on the tribe's transportation system? Is that available to everyone?
It is available to everyone and it is on their website. They have a pretty good website. The tribe is actively working on getting spots like, right, they go to the hospital, they go to the food bank. They have contacted, we've had a little bit of talk about having a senior center. There's an issue with the turnaround, as far as how they would be able to turn around the parking lot and whatnot, but they have not approached me yet, but they are planning to add more and more spots to this as it goes along.
Or flat fee?
It's pretty, what do you call it? Yes, very expensive, and it is on their website. They do, all you have to do is look up, Canarsie and their bus routes and things, and it's on their, it's called.
Is it
Here too.
Is it Kaufman?
Yes, Cotton Transportation. Yeah.
Okay.
How many members are on that commission?
It's in the back.
It is there.
It is,
It looks like, I think that's all. Oh, yeah, as a bear, just wonder, it's a huge number, I mean, it's not bad, it's huge numbers. And how often do you meet?
we meet, the next meeting we have is in August and it's
August.
2-day Zoom meeting and we'll meet in person in October in Anchorage. And Zoom again in December and then meet in Juneau in February. So there's a couple of trips, but they pay for all of my expenses.
Mhm. All right, and would we have access to the minutes online?
Yes,
Or do we just go on the commission on agent? Website?
yes.
I do not have a report for today. Apologize. I haven't been able to meet with Rachel and I was gone for a while, so. Should we wanna move on to? Sure. Vice Mayor Haskell.
Thank you. So I have 3 meetings to report on. June 3rd was, I'll try to make it short, was essentially we approved the budget, this next year's budget, and there's various different things that we approved in it. Like shift differential pay, we also approved the schedule of rates for like the library and the rec center and the multipurpose building and all of that. So it was all budget related stuff that on that June 3rd meeting, and it was pretty lengthy meeting. The only other thing we did was, we reviewed the ordinance regarding tent camping and, motorhomes. Because we have some people from out of town are buying little lots and then they come down here and they turn it into like a tent city during dip netting season and then they leave. So, we changed that to where they can't camp for like more than a few days, and there can only be so many tents on a lot. And there was actually a big group out on by Readout that last year they brought in porta potties and they brought in dumpsters and they had motorhomes and tents, and it was just a great big party. So, and you know, residents aren't really liking that.
Yeah.
So we did pass that, so it was the tent camping on private property. So that, we're kind of considering our citizens a little more. And then, the other thing was, we also approved contracts for the streetlight repair, the, Aliac storm water and paving repair, street crack sealing, and the, Kenai Parks and Rec master plan. If you get a chance to see that, it's pretty, we have a really impressive Parks and Recreation, department. And parks, we have more parks than normally normal cities our size have, and the accommodations of the parks, so it's really top notch. And then on the 17th, we accepted $42,000 for the purchase of law enforcement equipment. That was sharing funds that were not spent, and just various other little things that along the way. We also accepted a grant from Elmer and Ruth Schwantes Fund for the purchase of Meals on Wheels delivery bags. And we accepted the check from Meals on Wheels for $120,000. That was pretty awesome. And then last night, I don't have my notes with me, but last night we what was all the good things? Oh, we approved there was some extra money left over from the street lighting. And so they put that with another small amount of money that we had, and they're gonna redo the lighting at the rec center. And then we also approved a contract for the animal shelter and the senior center canopy, roof canopy. I was making a joke, we were taking care of the pets and other people. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. It was kind of nice. Yeah, there you go. Put it together. But I think that was about it. There wasn't a lot of other good stuff going on. Oh, the Jersey Subs is gonna move into the airport. They're gonna open up in the airport. And just as a side note, I read that there's a scam going around and they are targeting Kenai residents. And if you happen to be doing anything with the planning department, they're contacting people and trying to tell them that they have to pay their permit fees online with the credit card. So they're trying to get your credit card. So just be aware. Another scam. Never, ever, ever give out your credit card. I've had like 4 calls.
With a dude, came around the corners and they were found and two people.
Yes.
On the camping and private property, has that been an ongoing problem or is that more recently?
It's more recently, it's become more prominent. Yeah, I think the last 3 or 4 years, so it's just been steadily increasing in it. I think what it winds up being is like a group buys a lot like from Anchorage and then they come down and they all congregate at the same time.
Cause there's no place to stay.
Yeah.
Is that considered a public health hazard?
Well,
With the Department of Public Health have to get involved with it?
that's part of it, and then plus, you know, they're on vacation essentially, they're here vacationing in the middle of a residential area and residents aren't appreciating the noise and the smell, the fish and all that.
That was, I was really interested in that because it doesn't mean that anybody, like for instance, I can park a motorhome or put a tent on my property in Kenai, but I live there. That's my resident property. It's not raw land. And, that was definitely made, known that that's not what they were targeting. So.
And the same with motorhomes, people were bringing in 3 and 4 motorhomes and parking them, and people on lots. Yeah. Kinda.
Is there gonna be any access to this new road they put on here?
Eventually, yes. Yeah, I think they're, right now, they're just continuing to assess it because they wanna make sure that that angle of repose continues. And then, I would think in the next year or so, they're probably gonna do something with that. Any other questions?
I have a comment.
Okay.
The Parks and Rec, I'm a file person and my word last 3 years. This year's a little cold spring, but awesome.
Isn't that
And I've
amazing?
called in every year because I'm wanting to know, but it is so much.
Yeah, and they plant all those flowers, they don't, most of them, they start themselves in the greenhouse. Pretty amazing.
So do we have any members from the public who would like to address the commission? I can't see behind you, so one more, I don't know who's that. So please note that the next meeting is August 13th, and I will not be present. Anyone else who's there, you have already. August 13th. Oh, look at you. You won't be here. Oh, you're on the meeting, it's not with.
Yeah, it's not that much.
Everyone else plan on being here, okay? All right, and so I'll just go around and see, Ginger, do you have any comments or questions? No? Bill?
Oh, just look at this cloud, somehow, it's not what you work there.
I just wanted to say, I'm happy to see Carolyn is back with us. We were talking about, that you were, when we were discussing the intergenerational activities, that they asked you about what kinds of things that high schoolers would be interested in. And you mentioned something about for change, that you were trying to get groups of students involved with. Something as simple as learning how to do crochet, but maybe that would be a link with some of the seniors here. I didn't hear, I was wondering if you had any follow-up on that. That was just a little thing that you had just said in passing, that you had brought up once. Or announced it in the group, in your group.
Well, we do have a crochet club at the school now.
Actually,
Yes, so, I could talk to them about maybe like coming over here after school or something.
that would be great, that would be wonderful, something to do. Is that so many people here are into the knitting and everything.
It's a
Right.
dying, it's kind of a dying practice, all the time.
So Carolyn, do you have any, questions or comments? Anything? No, it's nice to meet you. Okay. Anything else? Okay. See no further business before this body, we are adjourned, do we need to? Make a motion to that? Oh. All right, so. The next meeting will be August.
Yeah, I'll do, but I will not be here. But we will miss you and we'll be recuperating. Well, not long recuperating.